Second exercise is the lack of effective elevator at raising the nose at the point of the stall. This is a simple reinforcement exercise. It's to reinforce the fact that if the nose is going down and you cannot raise it with the elevator, the glider is probably stalled. Pre-flight briefing, just recap the stalling symptoms and the final stall symptom that the elevator is ineffective at raising the nose at the point of the stall. In flight, when we fly the demonstration, similarly, you want to demonstrate how the elevator is effective in normal flight. So fly the glider at about 50 knots, move the stick forward and point out that the nose goes down. Then move the stick back and point out that the nose rises. Keep pulling the stick back until the nose is about 30 degrees nose high, and the stick should be about just slightly aft of neutral. At the point of stall, in other words, just as you feel the nose start to drop, bring the stick back and demonstrate to the student that even though the stick is back, the nose is going down. The elevator is completely ineffective at raising the nose. The recovery, move the stick forward, regain flying speed. Post-flight debrief, again, just reinforce the message to the student that the elevator will not raise the nose further or stop the nose going down at the point of the stall, and stall recovery should always be taken once that's detected. To give you some idea of how difficult this is or can be for people who don't realise what's going on, there's quite a good documentary about the Airbus which mush stalled into the sea from 33,000 feet, and it was only in the last few thousand foot they realised what was happening. Sadly, there was not enough height to recover. Okay, so what we're going to have a look at now is how the elevator changes its effect on the aircraft when we're fully stalled. So this is just a stall reinforcement exercise. So flying along at about 45 knots, steady attitude. If I move the stick forward, notice the nose goes down. If I move the stick back, the nose rises. However, if I fully stall the glider and move the stick back now, the nose goes down again. I need to move the stick forward, regain flying speed, and return to the normal attitude. The elevator was completely ineffective at raising the nose or preventing it going down at the point of stall. So, if you're ever flying around and notice the elevator is ineffective at either raising the nose or preventing it going down, you have probably stalled the aircraft and will need to move the stick forward and regain speed. What I'm going to demonstrate in this one is I'm going to show you how the rudder changes its effect on the glider close to the stall. So before we do this, we'll have a look at the effect of the rudder on the glider at normal flying speed. So I'm flying at about 48 knots now, and I'm going to apply full right rudder. I want you to notice how much yaw and how much roll we get when I apply the rudder. Applying the rudder now, how much yaw and how much roll have we got? I'm now centralising the rudder. You'll notice we had quite a lot of yaw, and if you look at the angle of bank we've got, a little bit of roll associated with that yaw. I'm now going to roll the wings level. I'm going to slow the glider down and do the same again. So I'm going to take it up to pre-stall buffet. I'm going to apply full right rudder, tell me how much yaw and how much roll we get. And you can see there was a lot more roll associated with the yaw. And in fact, there was probably less yaw because we were flying at lower speeds. So what you want to remember from that exercise is you've got to be careful about using the rudder, especially at lower speeds. It may have unpredictable effects on the airframe.